This week we have 8 games to cover, 3 non-district games throughout the middle of the week, and then Saturday, a full slate of games. All that, plus we have another shakeup in district standings. Unfortunately, no NJCAA polling came out this week, but a shakeup at the 1 seed and a couple different races get tighter later on down in the standings. All that and more here in this district recap. Let's start with the non-district games in the middle of the week. And the first game of the midweek games is going to be Lincoln Trail versus Greenville JV. Lincoln Trail gets on the winning side of their record with a 95-71 win here. They shot okay. They shot 52.7% from the floor overall as a team, 39 for 74, 5 of 14 from behind the arc, 12 of 16 from the free throw line. The NJCAA stats have them as 62 rebounds, 21 assists, and 22 turnovers. I don't know how much we can really put into stock there, but let's go ahead and jump into some individual stats here. For the Statesman, Gabe Amorgi led the way for the Statesman with shooting 9 of 10 from the field. He was 3 of 5 from the foul line, grabbing 10 rebounds overall, 7 of them being defensive, had 1 assist, 2 steals, finishing with 21 points, as Devin Bell came off the bench with an 8 of 13 shooting performance, including a 3. He had 5 rebounds with 2 assists, 2 steals, and 2 blocks. He finished with 19 points. Caden Hunlocker finally got some help that he desperately needed. He shot 5 of 10 from the field, 1 of 4 from behind the arc. He had 8 rebounds, 6 assists with 4 steals, and had 1 block shot. He had 2 turnovers, finishing with 15 points. Marlon Bennett, once again, he finished with 15 points. So Hunlocker finally got the help that he desperately needed, as I said before, with other players stepping up. Bennett finished shooting 6 of 12, 3 of 5 from behind the arc, grabbing 6 rebounds, 2 assists, a steal, and a block, finishing with 15 points. I don't have any stats for the Greenville JV just because I'm looking off of njcaa.org, and there is nothing that I have there from their game. Unfortunately, it was a big win for Lincoln Trail. They were able to get back in the winning column. Let's just hope that they can build on this as the season winds down for them. The next game pitted Jefferson out of Missouri and Shawnee. Shawnee pulls out a big win, 85-66 on their home floor. Jefferson shot 46.3% from the floor, with Shawnee shooting 54%. That looked like 25 of 54 for Jefferson, 34 for 63 for the Saints. 3-point shooting-wise, the Jefferson was 8 of 20, Shawnee 3 of 14. Hopefully that doesn't come back to bite them. Free throws, Jefferson was 8 of 15, and Shawnee was 14 of 20 for 70% overall. Rebounding battle, Shawnee wins this one, 30-24. Assist battle, even though it's not really a battle, I like to put the two teams up against each other. It was a closer one, 20-19. The turnover battle, Shawnee wins this one, forcing 16 turnovers and only giving the ball up 12 times. Individual-wise, let's take a look at what that means. Ladricus Pittman was one of the leading scorers for the Saints. He was 5 of 11 from the field, 7 of 9 from the foul line. 8 assists, 3 steals, and 1 turnover. He finished with 17 points. Trayvon Thomas led the way for the Saints. 8 of 10 shooting from the field, so he was extremely efficient. He hit a 3, 1 of 2 from the foul stripe. 7 rebounds, 3 assists, 4 steals, and 1 turnover for 18 points. Johnny Anderson got into the scoring column in double digits. He did not have the greatest shooting night, 4 of 12 overall, 3 of 4 from the foul line. He had 4 rebounds, 1 steal, and 3 turnovers to go along with 3 fouls. He finished with 11 points. Somebody who was close but not quite, and the biggest bench provider for the Saints was Israel Welton. He was 4 of 6 from the field, made 1 free throw, 1 rebound, had 2 turnovers, and 3 fouls. He finished with 9 points. Let's go ahead and jump over to Jefferson. They're just rebuilding this program. So for them to be competitive in this game was maybe a stretch of the imagination. I know they've had some good highs and lows in their season. They're Division II, so I really don't know a ton about them, but let's go ahead and talk about them a little bit. They had 3 starters in double figures, starting with Kobe Branscombe. He was 4 of 6 from the field, 2 of 4 from behind the arc. He finished with 12 points. He had 2 assists with 1 rebound, 2 turnovers, and 3 fouls. Gabe Wathens was 3 of 7 from the field, 2 of 4 from behind the arc with 2 free throws made, had 2 assists, 4 turnovers, and 2 fouls. He finished with 10 points. And Jalen Boyd, he was 4 of 9 from the field, overall 5 rebounds, 8 assists, 2 steals, 5 turnovers. He finished with 10 points. Their leading scorer off the bench was Gavin Smith, 3 of 4 from the field, 2 of 3 from behind the arc, 1 rebound, and had 8 points. So the Saints able to hold serve and win their game in Shawnee going into Saturday's matchup against Kaskaskia. And the final game in this weird scheduling where everybody had Wednesday off due to it being a built-in bye for bad weather, which we didn't have for most of the season, although in Indiana we did get some weather on Friday night. SWIC went ahead and played Indiana Elite Prep. And I only have SWIC's stats, but I will go ahead and break those down for you. As a team, SWIC was 38 of 74 from the field for a good 51.4% shooting percentage. 9 of 25 from behind the arc for 36%. Free throw-wise, they need work. They were only 48.5, 16 of 33. Again, don't know how much this really is when it comes to going by these stats when I don't have the other team to kind of look at, but it says on NJCAA that SWIC had 53 rebounds, 20 assists, and 21 turnovers. What does that mean individually? Let's go ahead and jump over there. Saxon Hopker led the way for the Blue Storm as a starter. He tied overall with Bennett Briles. Both of them had 16 points. Hopker was 7-11 from the field, 2 of 3 from the foul line, had 8 rebounds, 2 assists, 1 steal, and 1 block shot, while Briles came off the bench. He was 7 of 12 from the field, 2 of 5 from behind the arc, had 5 rebounds and 1 block shot. Like I said, both of them finished with 16. The next leading scorer was Jameel Barber. He was 5 of 9 from the field. 3 of those 5 field goals came from behind the arc. He was 3 of 6 there. He had 10 rebounds, 3 assists, 3 steals, and 7 turnovers. Unfortunately, again, all this is just based off of NJCAA stats pages. He finished with 15. Nazum Meckham and Nazir Leonard both finished with 13 points. Meckham was a starter. He was 4 of 10 from the field, 5 of 9 from the foul stripe. Had 3 offensive rebounds, 4 total rebounds, 4 assists, 3 steals. He finished with 13. And Leonard, who also finished with 13, was 5 of 11 from the field, 1 of 6 from behind the arc, 2 of 8 from the foul stripe. So Leonard needs to shoot better from the foul stripe if they're going to carry SWIC later on. He had 2 rebounds, 3 assists, 4 steals, and 2 block shots. Again, finished with 13 points. Briles and Leonard were your leading scorers off the bench for the Blue Storm. Let's go ahead and once again, like I said, I can only talk about SWIC because I don't have anything for Indiana Elite Prep. But again, those are the games that these 3 teams scheduled during their bye week. Again, just a quirk in the schedule that allowed all these teams to rest up on Wednesday night and get ready for Saturday. Saturday, we had 5 big games. Let's go ahead and jump into the first one. And that first big game on Saturday put SWIC against Rend Lake in Ina, and SWIC came out with a 70-65 victory. Unfortunately, I don't have any stats for Rend Lake, and I wait until as late as possible for me to be able to get this video out on time. And I don't have anything for Rend Lake, unfortunately. I do have SWIC team stats and individual stats. Let's go ahead and jump into those. As a team, SWIC was 28 of 62, good for 45.2%. 6 of 16 from three-point land, 37.5. 8 of 20 from the foul line. Had 43 rebounds, 13 assists, and 15 turnovers. Let's take a look what that means individual-wise. They were led by Dallas Rufus, 7 of 9 shooting from the field, 2 of 3 from behind the arc, 2 of 2 from the foul line. Had 3 rebounds, 4 assists, 1 steal, 2 turnovers. He finished with 18 points. Jacoby Huddleston, who I didn't talk about against Indiana Elite, had a big game against Rend Lake. He was 7-8 from the field, the most efficient SWIC player. 1 of 5 from the foul line, however, he had 11 rebounds, 8 of them defensively. Also had 2 assists, 3 steals, 1 blocked shots, and 4 turnovers. He finished with 15 points. Jameel Barber, although he did not get in double figures, he also had 11 rebounds, 8 of them defensively, and 3 offensive as well. He finished with 6 points. Saxon Hopker, he finished with a second leading scorer at 16 points, 6 of 17 shooting, however. He was also 2 of 5 from three-point land, 2 of 3 from the stripe, had 9 rebounds, 7 of them being defensive, had 3 assists, 1 steal, and 2 block shots. He finished with 16 points. Nazir Leonard led the team off the bench. He finished with 10 overall, 14 of 15. So, again, not a great shooting night for your 2 stars in Hopker and Nazir Leonard. He was 1 of 5 from three-point land, had grabbed 1 rebound, 2 steals, and had 1 block shot, finishing with 10 points. Like I said, I just don't have anything for Rend Lake, except that it was tied at 33 at the half, and SWIC was able to pull away kind of late into that ball game. Great showing for the Warriors, and a better showing for the Blue Storm. In the first district matchup of Saturday, pitted Wabash Valley against Lincoln Trail in Robinson, and the Warriors led in the first half 47-29 overall, won this game 86-73. Lincoln Trail actually won the second half 44-39. I don't have any team stats for Lincoln Trail. However, Wabash Valley shot 29 of 60 from the floor, good for 48%. 11 of 24 from behind the arc, good for 45.8%. They were 17 of 20 from the foul line. Had 25 rebounds, 15 assists, and 13 turnovers. Although I don't have our team stats for the Trail, I do have a couple things for them. I don't have stats per se, but thanks to my good friend Dave Hunter, he did give me this. Caden Huntlocker led the way for the Statesmen with 18 points. Devin Bell, had 14 points. Marlon Bennett had 11, and Shea Olue had 10. Now, for the Wabash Valley Warriors, they were led by Daniel Robinson, who was 5 of 8 from the field, 3 of 5 from behind the arc, grabbed 2 rebounds, had 2 steals, or had 1 steal, 2 assists, had 3 turnovers. He finished with 19 points. And Drone Sprinkles led the way for all scorers with 21 points. He was 8 of 16 from the field, 4 of 9 from behind the arc. He's really starting to find his 3-point shooting if he can keep it going the last couple of weeks. Had 2 rebounds, 1 assist with 2 steals, and 3 turnovers. He finished with a game-high 21. And Kaleem Taylor, another scorer in double figures for the Warriors. He was 6 of 9 from the field, had 3 for 3 from the stripe, 4 rebounds, 5 assists, 1 block shot. He finished with 15. Majoud Burton was 4 of 8 from the field, 2 of 4 from three-point land, had 5 rebounds, 1 assist, 1 turnover. Had finished with 10 points off the bench. He led the scores there for Coach McGee's squad. Again, Wabash Valley wins the second half. I don't really have a ton of stats on them, unfortunately. But Ken Hunlocker once again led the way with 18 points. Bell kind of pulled with them as well. He had 14, but just wasn't enough as they fell to 0-12 in district standings. In the third game of the weekend, pitted Olney Central against Lakeland and Mattoon, and the Blue Knights get the season sweep, beating the Lakers 77-64. This game, although the 13-point spread might show it to be a one-sided battle, the stats say otherwise. Let's go ahead and jump into the team stats. As a team, Olney Central shot 26 of 70 from the field compared to Lakeland's 24 of 68. So Olney Central shot 37.1 compared to Lakeland's 35.3. Here is where I see the big difference between the two teams. It's going to be the three-point shooting. Olney Central shot 8 of 22, while Lakeland shot 6 of 24. Both of them not great, but Olney Central, percentage-wise, that turns out to 36.4% from three-point land compared to Lakeland's 25%. From the foul line, it was pretty even. Olney shot 17 of 24, while Lakeland shot 10 of 13. The rebounding battle. Again, here's one of the big things I look at when I see why a score could have been skewed this way. Olney Central wins the rebounding battle 51-44. They also win the assist battle 18-11. And here's the second biggest key that I look at is the turnover battle. They win this one, although both teams didn't turn the ball over a ton. Olney Central wins this one 7-12. They forced Lakeland to have 12 turnovers. So the three-point shooting and the turnovers compounded with the rebounds is why Olney pulls away with a 13-point win. It was a 1-point halftime score at 35-34 in favor of the Blue Knights. In the second half, they were able to pull away, scoring 42 points compared to Lakeland's 30. What does that mean individual-wise? Let's go ahead and jump into that, starting with the victors, the Blue Knights. Darian Lewis led the way for the starters with 12 points. He was 3 of 9 shooting, 2 of 4 from behind the arc. That's a name we haven't said in a while. 4 of 6 from the foul line, had 3 assists, 1 steal, and 1 turnover. The only other Blue Knight in double figures was Demarion Walkup, and he struggled to get in double figures. He finished with 3 of 18 shooting, 2 of 8 from behind the arc. Had 2 offensive rebounds, 6 defensive rebounds for a total of 8. Had 2 assists, 1 steal, and 1 block. No turnovers, finishing with 11 points. JT Thomas was the big starter the big scorer off the bench. He finished with 15, and boy, did he have a game in the rebounding department. He was 5 of 7 shooting, hit 1 3, 4 of 5 from the foul line. But he had 10 defensive rebounds to go along with the 5 offensive rebounds. So he finished with 15 rebounds and 15 points, although Delshawn Sims and Javon Jones also were close to that double-figure scoring. Both of them finished with 8 points off the bench. Coach Glash only went 8 deep in this game. Jacoby Thompson also finished with 8. And Jackson Twombly finished with 9 points. Twombly was 4 of 6 from the field, had 5 rebounds, 1 steal, and 1 block shot. Thompson had 3 rebounds, 7 assists, and 1 steal. The Lakers, on the other hand, had a couple players in double figures. Starter-wise, both of them finished with 10. Sean Dekonovich and Samuel Hinkapai. Dekonovich was 4 of 13 from the field. He didn't hit a 3-point shot, which is weird when you're the home team and you shoot on your rim so constantly and you don't hit a 3-pointer. Hinkapai had 10 rebounds, was 4 of 9 from the field, had 3 assists, 2 turnovers, but he did foul out. Dekonovich was 2 of 2 from the stripe, had 3 rebounds, and 3 turnovers. Ahmad Roberts off the bench was close to joining those two in double figures. He was 3 of 6 from the field, 1 of 3 from behind the arc, had 4 rebounds, 1 assist, and 2 steals, finishing with 9 points. Johnny Jones led the way for the Lakers, although he shot relatively poorly. He shot 5 of 15 from the field, 3 of 10 from behind the arc. He did grab 7 rebounds, had 3 assists, and 13 points. So the Lakers, again, not shooting well. And actually, Đukanović got tossed in this ballgame. Maybe that's why he only finished with 10 points. He had 2 technical fouls in this game, so Đukanović was disqualified and ejected from the game. That probably led the way and allowed Olney to kind of pull away in that second half. But again, Olney wins this game by 13, although the stats show a much closer matchup. The fourth game of the day pitted Kaskaskia against Shawnee, and the Blue Devils were able to squeak out a 3-point victory, 69-66. Kaskaskia led by 2 in this first half, 39-37. Again, I don't have stats for Shawnee, unfortunately. I do have what Mr. Hunter sent me, so I will go over that for Shawnee. Kaskaskia, however, I do have stats for. They were 28 of 63 from the field, 5 of 18 from behind the arc, 8 of 15 from the foul line. They had 38 rebounds, 9 assists, 10 turnovers. Again, I wait till as long as possible so I can get this up before Tuesday morning. So that means I record Monday early or late afternoon, early evening. I don't have anything for Shawnee. However, I do know that the Saints netted 9 threes, including 4 by Sean Washington, who had 18 points. Johnny Anderson had 17, and Ladricus Pittman, Tavon Thomas, and Miles Lemons each had 10 points for the Blue Devils of Kaskaskia. They were led by Will Vassar, who was 8 of 15 from the field, 3 of 5 from behind the arc, had 7 rebounds, 3 assists, 2 steals, 1 turnover. He finished with 20 points. Caleb Jenkins also had himself a night with an 8 of 15 shooting performance, 2 of 6 from behind the arc, had 4 rebounds, 1 assist, and 3 turnovers. He finished with 19. Lionel Hodges was a third member in double-figure scoring for the Blue Devils. He had 10 points, but he had 13 rebounds, 8 of them going defensively, 1 assist, 1 steal, and 1 block to go along with 3 turnovers. He finished with 10 points. Dallas Harding Fair got close to scoring in double figures off the bench for Coach Hancock and Kaskaskia. He finished with 7 points, 3 of 4 from the foul line, 2 of 2 shooting from the field, had 1 rebound and 1 steal. So again, without really having anything to go on Shawnee, and as late as I wait to do these games, unfortunately, I can't really dive deeper into what the Saints did off the bench or who was off the bench or anything like that. Unfortunately, again, I wait until the last possible minute, and that is Monday late afternoon, to be able to get these out for a Wednesday, Saturday, for this video to be relevant on Wednesday and Saturday. And finally, the matchup that I was teasing last week, Vincennes, number 4 in the country, against John A. Logan, defending national champions. Logan comes into this game 12-12. Vincennes comes into this at 22-2. And this game lived up to my hype. Vincennes, however, falls in overtime 72-71. As a team, the Trailblazers shot well from the field, 49.1%. They shot 28 of 57. Logan shot 24 of 55 for a good 43.6%. However, Vincennes only shot 4 3-pointers and did not make any, while Logan shot 28 3-pointers and made 8 of them. Free throw wise, Vincennes was 15 of 20 from the stripe, while Logan was 16 of 20 from the stripe. The rebounding battle was a close one. Vincennes winning 35 to 30. Assists, Vincennes had 15, Logan had 17. I know that's not really a battle, but it is a close measure. Both teams have trouble keeping track of the ball, however. Vincennes wins the turnover battle 17 to 19. But again, the biggest thing here, when I look at it, I look at the rebounds and I look at the turnovers. Both of them led Vincennes. So why did Vincennes lose this in overtime? Well, it's that three-point shooting. They only attempted 4 of them and didn't make any, while Logan lived and died by the 3. And they did so. Again, this one went into overtime. This one was a little bit quirky because the final horn at regulation did not sound. If you go back and watch Logan's video, you don't hear a horn at the end of regulation, and actually you don't hear a horn at the end of overtime. But I will say this, the referees did the right thing. They had one, probably the trailing ref, look up at the clock as Vincennes got closer. They had 2 opportunities to win it. At the end, missed both of them. Actually, they missed one, and then time expired as the tip-in went in, and the referees correctly waved it off. That being said, let's go ahead and jump into the individual stats. LeBron Thomas, surprise, led the way for the Trailblazers, although he didn't have his greatest shooting night, and again, not being able to hit a 3 killed the Blazers. He was 9 of 21 from the field. Like I said, he didn't shoot well. 6 of 6 from the foul line, however, had 8 rebounds, 4 assists, 2 steals, 2 turnovers, and 3 fouls. He finished with 24 points. Michael Osei-Bonsu got back into the starting lineup. He was 10 of 14 from the field, 2 of 4 from the foul line. Good for... he also grabbed down 5 rebounds, had 2 steals, and a turnover. He finished with a career-high 22 points. Ryan Oliver finished with 3 of 6 shooting, 6 of 8 from the foul line, had 5 rebounds, 3 assists, 2 steals, no turnovers, but he was battling a little bit of foul trouble. He finished with 4 fouls and 12 points. And again, nobody was close off the bench for the Blazers, as they only had 4 points off the bench as well. Chris King, 1 of 3 shooting, and Victor Lato, 1 of 1 shooting. Both players didn't really contribute to that. Let's go ahead and jump over to the champs. Julian Norris led the way for the Volunteers, 8 of 15 shooting, 2 of 5 from behind the arc. Had 2 rebounds, 3 assists, 1 steal. Had 6 turnovers, but he finished with 24 points, and he was in foul trouble as well with 4 fouls. Elliot Landis was the only other Volunteer in double figures. He only had 10 points. He did foul out. He was 3 of 4 from the field, had 4 of 6 from the foul line, 6 defensive rebounds. That was his total rebounds. Had 1 steal and 3 blocked shots. So the Blazers on that end held Landis in check a little bit better. I think he had like 7 blocked shots in that first matchup. Off the bench, this is where, again, when I look at why this game was what it was, not only was it the 3-point shooting, especially the rebounding battle and the turnover battle favor Vincennes, it's the bench play. Like I said, Vincennes only had 4 points off the bench. Logan had 24 points off the bench, led by R.J. Walker, who was 4 of 8 from the field, 4 of 7 from behind the arc. So all of his field goals were 3-point attempts. He finished with the 12 points, had 4 rebounds, 4 assists, 1 steal, and 1 block shot. He did have 3 turnovers, however. And Jalen Fairman, he was okay. He was serviceable. He was 2 of 6 from the field, 4 of 4 from the foul line. He finished with 8 points, had 3 assists, 2 rebounds, and again, so there it is. R.J. Walker triples your bench scoring, and Jalen Fairman doubles your scoring off the bench. And Alfred Worrell equals your scoring off the bench. He finished with 4 points, 1 of 11 shooting, 0 of 9 from behind the arc. Jeez, Worrell. 2 of 4 from the foul stripe. Had 3 rebounds and 3 assists to go along with 3 turnovers. He also battled a little bit of foul trouble with finishing with 4 fouls. He finished with, like I said, 4 points. So again, when you look at those key figures that I talk about rebounds, I talk about turnovers, and I talk about bench play for the most part. Bench play was dominated by Logan in this matchup. Rebounding battle favored Vincennes. Turnover battle favored the Blazers. But again, the bench and not being able to... They abandoned shooting the three-pointer at some point in this ballgame. I don't know when, but they seemed to completely abandon it. Only had 4 attempts. And that's what led to the overtime loss. That is the Blazers' second loss in overtime on the season. And that is their second loss by a single point. That would have dropped them so much in the overall standing in the rankings if we would have had some this week. Luckily for the Blazers, they're still at number 4, however. And while the Blazers might be number 4 in the nation, still, they fall to number 2 in district standings. Let's go ahead and look at those district standings. Olney Central regains the top spot at 10-2, 19-5 overall. Like I said, Vincennes falls to number 2, 9-2, 22-3 overall. Wabash holds serve at the 3 seed at 7-4, 14-6 overall, while Logan jumps into the 4 seed at 7-5, 13-12 overall. SWIC, again, they played against Rend Lake. They did not play against a district opponent, so they hold serve at 6-5, 15-10 overall. Shawnee is 5-7 at 14-10 overall. Lakeland 4-7, 15-10 overall. Kaskaskia is at 4-8. They're only a half game back of the Lakers for the number 7 slot. 4-8 in district play, 16-8 overall, and unfortunately for the Statesmen, they finish 0-12, 6-18 overall. We got 10 big games to cover this week, so let's go ahead and jump into the previews. So let's go ahead and jump into this week's slate of games, starting with the Wednesday slate. Again, 10 games total, 5 on each day. The first game, let's go ahead and cover the Lincoln Trail at Kaskaskia. I think the Statesmen are going to struggle a little bit, especially since Kaskaskia is coming off that gritty win against Shawnee on the road. Caden Hunlocker is going to have the game of his life and able to make this game competitive for the Statesmen. And he's still going to need help. Devin Bell or Marlon Bennett or even Oloye need to step up and match Huntlocker point for point if they're going to have a chance to beat Kaskaskia, especially on the road. I just don't see it happening, unfortunately. I see the Blue Devils being able to come off of that big-time win and expand on it, make this 7-seed race a little bit tighter as Lakeland has a tough opponent. And I just see Kaskaskia pulling out the win here. I mentioned the Lakers having a tough opponent, and that opponent is going to be the Wabash Valley Warriors. Now, like I said, the battle for the 7 seed is going to be tight. Wabash Valley is looking to make that fight for the 2 seed even tighter. Right now, it's a 2-game lead for the Blazers, but the Warriors play very well at the Spencer Sports Arena, and that's where they are as they host the Lakers. And because of that, I have to give this game to the Warriors. I don't think that they lose on their home floor quite yet. This game is going to be very, very close. However, I think that Lakeland's going to be a little mad that they let a game against Olney slip away from them. They're going to play tougher against Wabash Valley. Now it's going to be interesting to see if Dukanovich has to sit out this game or not. If he does, it becomes an easier win for the Warriors. If he doesn't have to sit out this game, like I said, it's going to be a tight game. But it really all depends if Dukanovich can play here for the Lakers. The Lakers have played against the teams that they've seen for the second time very well, and they've just had some unlucky bounces. But with that being said, I still think that since it's in the Spencer Sports Arena, I got to give the edge to the Warriors. And this game is going to be crucial, and I will mark this as my mid-game of the week. Johnny Logan heads to Olney to take on the Blue Knights in the dungeon as Olney looks to hold on to that number 1 seed in the district tournament. Like I said, Logan's coming off of a big win against number 4 Vincennes. Olney is coming off of a big win against Lakeland. I don't know how this is going to go because last time I said Olney was going to protect home floor, they almost lost it against Kaskaskia. Logan, they're playing really good basketball right now, and they are extremely scary. Don't let that 13-12 record fool you. That is a tough 13-12 record. That is a tough 12-loss team there in the Volunteers, and they know they have to win out if they want a chance to defend their national title. They have to win out. They have no backup plan. They have to win the district, and it starts against Olney. And the fourth game on Wednesday is going to put in SWIC against Vincennes, and copy and paste what I said for the game at Belleville for this game here at the PE complex. It's going to be very gritty. It is going to be a very defensively focused games. Both Coach Harrington and Coach Franklin are going to have their teams ready to go for this ball game, both for different reasons. SWIC, on one hand, is looking to stay in that battle against Logan for that 4-5 matchup, while Vincennes is looking to hold serve at the 2 seed. If Logan somehow upsets Olney and SWIC upsets VU, it makes it very interesting because, well, nothing changes if that happens because both the favorites lose. But with that being said, I think that Vincennes is still going to pull out this game. However, I do have a message for the Trailblazers. If you think you have your spot to Hutch locked up right now, think again because you have 2 losses in overtime, and one of them is to a 12-loss team. That is not going to look well going towards the committee. But with all that being said, I still think that VU figures out a way in the last couple of weeks to build up on their resume and to be one of the final teams in Hutch. But it has to start here against SWIC, especially after you got hit in the mouth against Logan on the road. And the last game in this Wednesday slate is going to be Rend Lake against Shawnee. Again, not a district game, so put a tally on the counter with that. Again, without really seeing stats from this week, it's hard for me to say how this game is going to fall out for either team. I see Rend Lake maybe being able to finally pull out a win in the GRAC play. I wouldn't be surprised if Shawnee holds serve at home. I just don't know. It's going to be one of those games that, as you watch it, it's either going to be very nice, easy win for Shawnee, or it's going to be a tough win, or even an upset win for Rend Lake. Again, Rend Lake's a Division II team, and they're not playing like it currently. So big hats out there, or tip of the cap to the Warriors head coach over there. Well, those 5 games on Wednesday are going to be something to watch, especially that Olney Logan game. But let's go ahead and jump into the Saturday preview, starting with Lincoln Trail at Rend Lake. I think that the Trail are going to repeat what happened in Robinson and Ina and pull out a victory here. Again, it's a great game, not going to affect the standings in the district at all, unfortunately for the Statesmen. But it's always nice to get on that winning streak, and I think you do so here against a tough opponent, an opponent that is playing better basketball than they did earlier in the year. And I think that helps you when you start to enter the last 2 weeks of this season. I see Lincoln Trail win this game by maybe 5 or 6 points. It's going to be a tight game. I just think that everything going on, I think Lincoln Trail can pull this one out. And the next game on the docket is going to be Shawnee versus SWIC. And again, without really seeing Shawnee play this week, it is tough for me to determine how they're going to come out against SWIC. The Blue Storm, again, they're playing Vincennes on Wednesday. I think they're going to be picking up an L in that game. So it's in Belleville. It is going to be tough, gritty. Both teams like to play that way. And for that reason, I'm going to give the win to the home team. I know I kind of rely on that as the default position. But when it comes to this district, it is extremely hard to win on the road. So for that reason, I give this edge to SWIC, but I wouldn't be surprised if Shawnee pulls out a win. I wouldn't really call them an upset because the Saints have been playing good basketball at some points in the season. They have good stretches of basketball play. Other times they don't play as well. I think Coach Sparks has them playing some of their better basketball the last 2 weeks, especially after that win in Olney. You battle Kaskaskia to the horn. And again, SWIC is just going to be a tough opponent in Belleville, so that's why I'm giving the Blue Storm the victory here. The next 3 games have a lot of seeding implications. Let's go ahead and start with Logan versus Lakeland at Mattoon. I got to give this one to the Vols of Logan just because that they're playing really good. Like I said in their Wednesday preview, they're playing really good basketball. They're getting hot at the right time, and that's what you really need when you play. With that being said, I think this will be a tough game for Logan. Within a couple possessions to the later part of the game, then I think Logan might be able to pull away if they're able to hit their shots. If not, I can definitely see Lakeland pulling out a big-time win here. And I would call an upset just because it is the defending national champions, although Logan has 12 losses. Lakeland, again, they are playing to show people that they aren't just a one-and-done team when it comes to INA. And it starts against Logan. For Logan, like I said on Wednesday, their season really started Saturday against Vincennes, and it continues all the way up through INA. They got to win out, and I see Logan winning it here, unfortunately, for the Lakers. And these next 2 games are going to be carbon copies of each other, starting with Wabash Valley at Kaskaskia. This game went into overtime earlier in January, with Wabash Valley winning that one 103-97. Both teams felt each other out the entire game when Brandon Razor Moore hit that half-court shot at the horn. I think that this game is going to come down to the horn again, and I'm going to give this to the Warriors. I just like how they're playing good basketball at the moment. They're playing together as a team. Coach McGee's really got them starting to buy in, and that's nothing against Coach Hancock. I think that they are going to be a tough out in INA. However, it is going to be a tough win here against the Warriors just because it depends on which team shows up for the Warriors, I will say. If what they saw again on January 20th shows up, it's going to be a tough one. If a Warrior team that they've kind of been like on the road shows up, it might be an easier time. Either way, it's going to be tough for Kaskaskia to pull out the victory here. I just don't see it happening. I think Brandon Razor Moore gets hot again, scores in double digits, and we're talking about this next Tuesday when I recap that game. But I give this one to Wabash Valley in a close matchup. And the final game is going to pit the number 1 seed against the number 2 seed at the moment, and that is Olney Central at Vincennes. This game is going to be a 12-round fight like the first round was, with Olney winning that one 73-72. Vincennes led that one at the half 38-35 before Olney was able to pull away extremely late in that ball game. Again, this is prime time, the only game that's going to be playing at 7 o'clock Eastern, and it's going to show. It depends on which Vincennes team shows up. If it's going to be one that battled their hearts out against Olney, I see this being a good win for the Blazers. If it's going to be some team that I've seen the last couple of weeks, it's going to be interesting. Let me just put it that way. For Olney, they too are facing a mid-season coaching change once again. And I say this because thankfully Coach Glash is back on the sidelines. I do think that helps them in some aspects. Again, they were able to go up 15 against Kaskaskia a couple weeks ago, and just barely won that game. That's not against Coach Glash. I think that it's just more what team buys in at the right time, and right now I think I don't know. This is a complete toss-up because for the second straight time, leadership changed hands, and it's going to be on the players of Olney Central to step up and take control of this ball game. And for Vincennes, it is going to be what team shows up. Is it going to be the Vincennes from earlier in the season, or is it going to be the Vincennes that squeaked by Shawnee, squeaked by Lakeland the second time around at home? I don't know. I'm going to call this one's going to be a toss-up. I'm not going to give a prediction on this one. That's just my thoughts on this ball game. It's going to be too close to call. That's going to do it for this week's episode. 10 games this week, and we are getting down to the nitty-gritty. We only got a couple more weeks in the regular season left to cover before we do INA, and that's going to be all kinds of fun. I love it when we get down to tournament time. We are 2 weeks away from March Madness, and that is the best time of the year for me as a basketball fan, for all basketball fans involved. That's going to do it for this week's episode, everybody. I will see you in the next one.